So today we came up with this topic of healing is seeing something new. So how do you see that, Katja?
Well, when we live our lives, we are constantly learning new stuff, and we go along on this journey with, we are born and we grow into this personality. We come into the first challenges and we collect experiences. We become a certain person in the form right now. So from there, we're always on the path, and we're always going to run into difficulties. We're going to run into things that we need to learn, where we sort of open up our horizon to something new. And as children, we really enjoy learning new, and we're on this discovery all the time, and we can't really learn enough. And in the grown-up years, we sort of come to the point where we think we know who we are, we know it all, and then it's actually then when we start running into difficulties. And for me, that was lots of difficulties health-wise also. And I came to see in the last few years that we're creating really our own view of the world and how I see my life through 3 principles. And those 3 principles help me to see that I'm also creating my own challenges, and that I'm creating my own level of well-being through using those creative forces that the principles point to. And when I speak about healing comes from seeing something new, then it's about that even our health challenges, even if it doesn't look that way, are created by ourselves in the way that we covered up our well-being, our natural health with things that we believe in. We pick up beliefs from our parents, we store our experiences as memories, and then we see through fearful eyes into the future. So we are creating lots of behaviors around that. And then I came to see that health issues are nothing more than just like an information that's displayed in the body and is an extension of our emotions and feelings, which are created through thought. And so when I run into such health issues, for me that's really just an invitation to open my mind. Because what I came to see is that when we have anything going on that we don't have an answer to yet, that means that in the realm of our personal mind, there is simply nothing there that could answer that, because if there was, we would be able to answer it, or we wouldn't perceive an issue as a problem in the first place, because we would just tune into what we know and we'll find the solution. So when we run into something that we don't have a solution for, there's one single solution, and that is to open up to the possibility of that there's something I don't yet know. So when I run into health issues now, instead of really trying to figure it out, trying to understand with what I know, what I do is that I focus on relaxing, that I focus on to listening to my own inner wisdom that everybody has, my own common sense. And I see that when I do that, naturally from the big unknown, I get fresh thinking. And when I get fresh thinking, I come up with the solutions that I need along the way. And it all comes from a calm mind. And some people meditate, and some people do, go for a walk or whatever to calm down their mind. But I don't even have to do these things, because I just know how the mind works, because the calm mind is my natural state. And if I don't listen to the chatter that comes from fear and insecurities and memories, then automatically my mind will calm down. And I came up with this great metaphor. It's like, if you imagine that you're a library, I mean, you're a library, and the library is quite large. It's collected all what you know. And let's say your personal mind is the librarian. He's a really clever guy, right? He knows where all the books are. He knows, and he's got it all in his head. He knows what he has in stock and what he hasn't. He's a really clever guy. Now let's say there's a health issue coming in. You know, it pops in one day into the library, and this health issue doesn't speak the language you know. So it's a foreign language. So you have no idea, and the librarian has no idea what to do with this person, and hasn't got even any idea how to relate to this person, because they don't even speak the same language. It might be Chinese or Japanese or whatever language, maybe some language they've never heard of. Now there's two ways the librarian can actually react to this issue, right? There's this foreign speaking issue coming into the library, and you don't know what to do with it. So the librarian in one way could be going really crazy and trying to find out if he has something in his library that fits that language, or that he can find a solution to the problem. And he could actually running around in his library as long as he likes, but he won't find anything, because, you know, he just doesn't speak that language yet. He doesn't know. And that's the second choice. The second choice is for the librarian to just say, I know my library really well, but I don't know. And so the librarian would then be just opening up and saying, well, within my library, there is nothing here which I could help this person with, because I simply don't speak their language. I don't know. And with not knowing, this librarian could then open up and probably go on the internet, or go to a different library, or whatever ideas he can come up with that lie outside of his own library, right? So that he could access fresh information. And guess what happens? As soon as he opens the doors and the windows of his library, fresh things can pop in from outside. And there's the solution, and he'll surely find somebody who speaks Chinese, Japanese, or whatever it is. So you start from there. So when we have our personal mind closed, you know, and the librarian thinks that's the only thing that exists, you will not be able to handle something that requires an open mind. And it's the same with our health issues. When we develop something that's new to us, then it is only a sign that there's some growing necessary. And the growing will always happen through opening our mind, and it's all that's ever required. I hope this answers your question, Mick.
Thank you. That's a really beautiful metaphor. And it also gives me the sense of that there's a whole world out there, not just, you know, I mean, sometimes our personal libraries seem very, very big, and they seem very, very useful, but it's nothing compared to the capacity to open to the internet, or to the whole information that is beyond. I think that's a really useful way of seeing it.
Yes, and it's one solution. It's the only thing we can do. Is really know about how our mind already works, and how we just give ourselves to nature in that we sort of just allow that the library opens up to new, fresh stuff. You know, because as long as we are just trying to find a solution within what we know, or we're going through the French book, the English books, the German books, the Chinese books, whatever we have, I mean, probably we can't find the language that is required to speak. Well, obviously in my metaphor, but it's just like, you know, any metaphor is always just pointing towards something. A metaphor can never be 100% perfect. But I think, you know, you get what I'm pointing to. And so healing really is a simple thing. Is all that's required is to stay calm and to allow something new to pop in. Anyway, so if people would like to know more about this, they can contact us, contact Mick or myself through our websites. And Mick, can you let people know what your website was again?
Is coach24.co.uk, or my email address is mick@coach24.co.uk.
Okay, that's perfect. And my website is www.katjasymons.com. That's spelled KATJASYMONS.com. So we're always open for people and to have a chat about this and to see if we can help with anything. All right. Thank you very much for listening. And thanks, Mick, for asking such clever questions.
Thank you for sharing today's point.